All right, take a look at your screens here. Driving along US 64 between Raleigh and Knightdale, you may have noticed these ruins here. Stone fireplace in the tree line here right next to the road.
Yeah, many of you actually reached out to our Hidden History team wanting to know what this was, learn a little more about it. WRL News Plus anchor Grace Holland visited the spot, met with a local historian who's been learning of this area's history for decades.
Like many of our viewers, Oakley Baldwin first noticed this ruin driving by. It was built for cooking during the Great Depression, but it turns out that this fireplace has lived several lives since then. He gave WRAL Hidden History reporter Heather Leah and I a tour. On the beaten path of US 64. You might find these ruins, a stone stove from a time before the path from Raleigh to Knightdale came with 4 lanes.
Well, I would drive by it every day, several times a day, and it was always something that would catch my eye.
Oakley Baldwin did.
I guess because it did stick out like a sore thumb.
He discovered this spot during his patrols as a Wake County deputy.
I would find fresh charcoal when I'd stop there.
Decades later, he still comes back and he's learned its story.
You can see where they mortared, put some mortar there. That was where the roof connected to it.
He says it was built in the 1930s to feed hundreds of civilian Conservation Corps workers building the first 2 lanes of the highway.
They used it up until 1942 because that's when the CCC disbanded.
But many more mouths were fed from this stove. Years later, King's Riverside restaurant used it to cook for its customers.
The only unsafe thing was that the employees had to actually leave the restaurant and cross Highway 64, 2 lanes, to cook the meals and then carry the meals back across. And they probably did that several times a day, which is unheard of today. It's kind of crazy. OSHA would never allow anything like that.
The road that brought the workers and the customers would eventually take the restaurant. It used to sit in what's now the median of the highway before these westbound lanes were built.
Oh, wow.
Now the ruins of the stove are crumbling.
One of the columns here has been knocked down, I guess, by this tree.
Between the road and new development behind it, Baldwin is hoping to see it preserved, even moved, to keep it from being lost forever.
We have to make room for progress and save our history.
County property records show Rogers Lane Partners LLC owns the land that the ruins sit on. These early site plans for that development building up behind the chimney only mention it one time. This map shows an old chimney in the same area with the words "to be removed."
Grace Holland reporting. And again, we did reach out to the property owner to see what's next for the ruins, if they will be removed, but we have not heard back yet.